Welcome to episode 12 of the Amiibo Newscast. This week's guest is from That One Video Gamer, the Completionist. And here are your hosts, Lauren and Amiibo Jason.
Good evening, Amiibo and Nintendo fans. Welcome to a very special edition of the Amiibo Newscast, actually episode 12 of the Amiibo Newscast, which is exciting.
I like to say that it's a landmark, but I pretty much say that every episode's
a landmark for us.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're still here. So welcome to episode 12 of the Amiibo Newscast. I'm your host, as always, Amiibo Jason. I have my co-host here, my partner in crime, Lauren from Nintendo Inquirer. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's been a crazy week, but I'm dealing with it.
It's been a crazy day. It's been a crazy, last 60 minutes. I'm freaking out right now about, all the news that just came out about Amazon.
You freaking out?
Yeah, I'm going to freak out just a bit. I'm not concerned, though, for the first time in my life. So, on top of the absolute insanity that we have that just happened with Amazon pre-orders, we have an insanely special guest.
I'm super excited about this.
So from That One Video Gamer, we have the Completionist with us today. How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm a little wired.
Understatement.
I'm a little tired.
Understatement.
A little bit of a combination.
Yes.
But you're doing better than me, I think.
I'm doing fairly well. I'm dealing with your craziness. And other than that, it's just kind of keeping everything Amiibo News related and Nintendo Inquirer related afloat.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So everybody knows who we are at this point, so nobody really wants to hear about Lauren and Jason anymore. So everybody's really interested in you, Gerard. So why don't you give yourself an introduction, tell us where we can find you, and what you've been up to.
Sure. I'm Gerard Dragon Rider Khalil, as my YouTube surname goes. I started the channel That One Video Gamer almost 4 years ago with the flagship show, The Completionist, and it's kind of the whole thing of one man, one game, 1 week, and it's been like that for about 130 games so far. So, yeah, that's what I do. I've been doing it obviously for a long time now, and you can find me at youtube.com/thatonevideogamer. You can join my community at thatonevideogamer.com. I'm also part of Normal Boots, which is a larger network of big YouTube reviewers that are my friends, and you can check us out at normalboots.com. And I'm also one half of the Super Beard Bros team, which is me and Alex, and we do Let's Plays with trivia and insane games like Kaizo Mario and Super Meat Boy. So we're obviously got a lot going on at All Pistons around here, but one thing that I try to keep on top of as much as I can is the Amiibo craze.
Yeah.
I think I have, up to this point, every single Amiibo except for the Mario Party Amiibo, because I feel like they're a bit redundant, because they're all I have the gold Mario Amiibo, don't get me wrong with that, but, and I have the Toad Amiibo, and then I also have the regular Mario Amiibo, just because that came with Mario Party 10 when I bought it. But I don't have the Bowser or the Luigi or the Peach one. But everything else, I'm pretty certain I have every single Amiibo to date so far. That's obviously going to change in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
So,
how do you deal with Amiibo in your life with everything else on your plate?
I can barely handle just Amiibo in my life at this point.
Honestly, it's I lucked out in some cases, right? For the most part, I'd say 95% of my Amiibo collection is all purchased by me. Just hunting down. I was the soothsayer back in the day that said Wave 1 must be pre-ordered right now, and no one listened to me. And so when Wave 1 was released, everyone was crying, and they were like, "Oh no, I missed all the Amiibo." And I'm like, hey, remember that tweet I made a long time ago where I said I just pre-ordered all Wave 1? You all should have done that. No one else did it, and then no one got their Amiibo. So, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. I've been very fortunate, though. I have a very good relationship with Nintendo, and they actually, I know that no one at home can see this, but you guys
Ooh,
can certainly
I want
can.
to see this.
Nintendo, those of you who don't know, and that's actually one of our topics, is Splatoon. Um, Nintendo sent me not only early copies of Splatoon, but they sent me the 3 amiibo
Oh
pack.
man,
You
So
tease.
that's
I
amazing.
have now, and also to be clear too, I also pre-order these on my own. This is Nintendo. They don't tell me what they send me, so sometimes I'll get no amiibo, sometimes I'll get like a super rare amiibo, but for the most part, it's all my own. But
Yeah.
I've got the orange one, the green one, and the blue one all in the triple pack.
Man, that
So
squid is looking good. I'm surprised the detail, like in the squid's eyes, it's outstanding.
Wow.
the quality in I say this in my video of Splatoon, which will be going live very shortly, if not already out. The quality of the
I think
the
I just
qua-
snap a picture of that.
the quality of these amiibo are the best so far. There's just some, I don't know what they did, but they feel better. They look really good. They look like the eyes. I can't get over the eyes, how real they look for the squid inkling amiibo. The quality is great.
I feel like their designs are a lot more solid compared to the other ones. They have a lot less detail that, the finer detail that we see in like the Fire Emblem amiibo. Compared to that, it's a very solid make, kind of like Wario. So I think we'll see the better quality.
I think also too in the first wave of amiibo, I think they were worried they didn't know what they were doing in
Uh,
regard to like which ones had the most detail. And, if you look at the first wave amiibo, I couldn't tell you which one's my favorite out of those because maybe Samus, I don't know, but
yeah.
other than that, they all kind of look a little lame. But if you look at Wave 2 and Wave 3, like Little Mac looks great, Mega Man and Sonic look really solid
Oh yeah.
for, Shulk looks great. Ike, they all, and DDD, they all, I don't know, the later, as they get on, I find that the quality of amiibos are getting better. I kind of wish they'd go back and re-release Wave 1 with like a better finish because
Mm.
most of mine they look like the Mario one and the Donkey Kong one. I look like every day and I go, they look like rip-offs. I feel like I was at like a discount store and they didn't have Amiibo, they had Amiibi, and I got Amiibi instead. You know what I mean?
Were you like me, and when you saw the original amiibo out of the stores compared to the prototypes we saw online, were you at all disappointed in the lack of detail that the prototypes had showed?
Oh, absolutely, especially in the Link one. The Link
Yeah.
and the Mario one too. The Mario has this like sense of dead eyes. You can just kind of you look at the model and you go, "What? Why are you sad?" Like you're Mario. There's not as much life in detail, I think, and I definitely agree with you in that. I was a little bummed.
I know
Yeah.
we had an episode where we had Zelda Inquirer
Yeah.
on, or Zelda Informer, I think it was.
Okay.
They were referring to the yellow stick that Link had as the P stick.
Yep.
Like
That
this
was what-
long P stick that's coming off of his leg, which I can't unsee at this point. But it's bizarre they went yellow with that one compared to the
It
prototype
was.
that was just a nice clear stick.
I have no idea their reasoning, but that's one of my biggest complaints about Wave 1.
I still love Link though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cannot get over it. So first and foremost, I want to thank you again for coming on our show. I have watched so many of your episodes. My wife and I actually watched this show together. My wife is not a gamer, in no sense of the word. She plays Animal Crossing,
Yay!
but that's about it.
Thank you, Jason's wife.
Yeah, I mean, she's gonna love to hear that. You're one of the few shows that we can watch that she gets into. That she's like, I can understand, why you're into gaming. So she sees a completely different side of video games, and you're able to bring that to us. So that makes us remarkably happy. So thank you again.
That makes me very happy because when I started the show, my goal was to inform people who don't play games. That's like your wife is the perfect example of why I made the show because gamers are gonna love it, but I'm more of an educator. I want to share the experiences that I've had and inform people of those experiences. And you telling me that makes me very happy. It means that I sometimes do my job pretty well.
Absolutely. You're extremely relatable. Whenever I watch any of your videos, I feel like I already know you. It comes across very clearly that you're a friendly, relatable person.
Oh, thank you. You guys make It's making me blush.
We're all done buttering you up now, I
yeah.
promise. So now we get to go into like the bread and butter of the Amiibo Newscast, and I have been waiting to say this for 6 weeks. So we're going to get some fanfare to go along with this, but we have a release date and time for Amazon pre-orders for Wave 4. Yay!
Woo!
I can't believe it. So first of all, what are you missing right now? Are you missing anything from Wave 4 at this point? Besides Jigglypuff. I think you're missing Jigglypuff.
I'm missing Jigglypuff. I'm missing Greninja. I'm missing... well, here's the thing. I pre-ordered off of... I think Amiibo News tweeted it. I think you tweeted it. B&H.
Yep.
They had a quick run. I got Lucina and Robin through there, but I'm skeptical. So guaranteed, according to my shipped emails that I got this morning, Wario, Charizard, and Pac-Man have all shipped.
Yeah.
As well as my Splatoon triple pack that I bought a few months ago as well. But Ness is a big maybe. I have some friends who work at GameStop who I asked to pre-order for me, and a few of them did say yes, but that's always up in the air with GameStop and anyone who doesn't get their Amiibo. I've had Kelly here in the office. She pre-ordered the Ike Amiibo. Yeah. And they held it, I think, for 2 days, and then they sold it, and they didn't tell her that it even came in stock. So
2 days. That's
hardly anything.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
My entire Wave 2 lineup of Amiibo got canceled. I had everything pre-ordered about 48 hours before everything was canceled.
Where'd you get it from?
Toys R Us.
Oh man. I remember that. I remember the big, the great, Amiibo massacre, I think they were calling it.
Yeah, it was weird because people were buying Greninja and Pit through Toys R Us's official eBay account.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up getting my Lucario and Pit one. But, everything else was just canceled, and no one wants... They're like, oh, well, don't worry, you get, $11 or a $10 coupon for
who cares?
Any of the other Amiibo. I don't want that. Give me the one that I paid for.
Yeah. Well, I guess at this point then, for you have 2 of the rarest Amiibo pre-ordered at B&H Photo Lab, right? So at that point, I think you might have to have a backup plan because they have not the absolute greatest track record with getting these things delivered. So for you, this is going to be important news. So today, about an hour ago, Amazon sent out an email, and I'm going to read this to us. Thank you for your interest in ordering the new Amiibo figures from Amazon.com. Quantities of the new characters are extremely limited, so we'd like to ensure that as many customers as possible have the opportunity to get the new figures. Throughout the afternoon on Friday, May 29th, we will be posting each Wave 4 Amiibo individually within the following time windows. Each will become available for purchase at a random time during that time frame. This is nuts. Mark your calendars for the following times tomorrow. Pac-Man goes up first between 2 and 2:30 Pacific time. Charizard goes between 2:30 and 3 p.m. Pacific time. Inkling Boy, 3 p.m. to 3:30. Lucina, 3:30 to 4. Wario, 4 to 4:30. Inkling Girl, 4:30 to 5. Silver Mario, 5 to 5:30. Robin, 5:30 to 6. And ending the night with the Splatoon 3-pack from 6 to 6:30. There's a couple things to keep in mind. They have disabled one-click purchase.
Oh,
that's number one.
So bad. They're right.
Yep.
But I'm bummed.
Number 2, since these are all at random times, these are individual orders. You cannot combine shipping. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you can't combine the shipping if you don't have Prime.
Basically, they're making it as difficult as possible for any Amiibo fans.
I think they're making it as difficult as possible for scalpers,
True.
Which is, I think, good. I'm kind of blown away at a couple things. So we have a time window, so they could go, when Lucina goes up, it's going to be gone within 30 seconds, I'm imagining. And I also have to work.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll be at work on one screen. If my boss is listening to this, I'm just totally kidding. I'm not going to do this. Work on one screen. On the other screen, I'm going to be refreshing constantly, probably in 5-second intervals to see when these things are going to go up. Because believe it or not, even though I have a complete Amiibo collection at this point, I do not have a US Lucina or Robin pre-ordered. Most people think that I'm some terrible human being, and I buy all the amiibo for myself, and then I tweet out, sometime later. But I do it completely the opposite. I tweet out first, and then if there's any left, I get it.
I've seen that firsthand, and he is not lying.
So I have missed out on a couple already.
I constantly get criticized on forum posts and in YouTube comments about how I am so in the pocket of Nintendo that I get free amiibo. And while that's true, right? Every now and then I'll get a free one. Yeah. I got these 3, which I was not expecting. And like I said, I already have this pre-ordered. They sent me these 3. They sent me the original Link, Mario, and Kirby.
Yeah.
And then they also sent me an Ike one, which was actually great because they sent it for me to demo out Project Steam.
Okay, yeah.
Because that uses the Fire Emblem amiibo. And I remember I had just gotten my pre-order canceled from somewhere for Ike. And I got home, and there was a FedEx box from Nintendo, and lo and behold, all that was in it was just the Ike amiibo. And I sat there, and I was like, that's like the best day ever. Just to like come home, and there it is waiting for you.
That never happens.
That never happens. You're very lucky.
I am very lucky. I will count my blessings where I can.
So I remember when a bunch of people were posting on Twitter that they got the 3-packs sent to them from Nintendo. I think Peanut Butter Gamer did. You did. There was a couple other people that were saying, look at what we got from Nintendo. So I'm driving home from work with this big grin on my face, like expecting this FedEx box at my door. And I'm like looking around at the side door. I'm like, where did they put it? It's got to be here somewhere, right? But no, I mean, we're still relatively new. We haven't really earned our keep, I guess, in Nintendo's eyes. But we're hoping to get there.
Yeah, we're working our way up, slowly but surely.
When I started my relationship with Nintendo, it was a pipe dream. I was working with one PR company, and at the time, my channel was incredibly small, and they had just launched this YouTube partner program. And that's the funny thing about the people criticize Nintendo all the time about the YouTube partner program. And the one that I'm in is completely different than the one that the controversy was happening a few months ago. It's like apples and a watermelon. It's like completely different, nowhere near the same. And I started small with them, and my channel has blossomed into something so large that they've just been constantly supporting me. And if anyone from Nintendo is listening, thank you for believing in me, because again, you never know who's watching and who's listening. And that's a big thing I always say on Twitter. Like, your boss might be reading your tweets. The company that you hate today might be reading your tweets, or whatever it may be. And they never forget. The nice stuff always kind of comes in and out, but the mean stuff, that's what sticks. And people will not forget that over anything else. So
that's good advice.
That's a tip I give to all of you you future content creators, is watch out who you say bad things about, because everyone's listening.
We love Nintendo.
We do, with all our hearts.
We love you very much, Nintendo.
There's that one saying, it's build or take your whole life to build your reputation, and you can crash it in 1 second. Yeah. It's something like that.
But either way, we're crazy Nintendo super fans. Half the reason why we started Amiibo News, we started it just to kind of do speed paintings. I started the entire channel with Amiibo News just painting figures, and that was it. I had no idea it was going to blow up into what it blew up into at this point. But we ended up evolving it we launched a new site called NintendoInquirer.com, and we are absolute Nintendo super fans. So I feel like we're in the kind of the same boat where Nintendo, I think, just means a lot to all of us. And I think the reason I gravitate to Amiibo as much as I gravitate to Amiibo, it's just like this handheld piece of my childhood that I can just align on the shelf. And every time I look over it, I can be like, I remember playing that game when I was 8 years old.
They're perfect representation trophies.
Yeah.
They represent everything we were and everything we are now.
But I guess that's the good point. I guess the good point that this is, if you're missing an Amiibo, so kind of go back to the Amazon piece, if you're missing an Amiibo, you're going to have a chance to get it. You can still get a piece of your childhood starting tomorrow. Depending on what time you're listening to this, we're going to have this podcast out in the morning for those people waiting in line like crazy people for the Amiibos at Toys R Us and Target and even GameStop. if you're listening to this now, we're going to start tweeting these things out the second we get any information. So stay tuned.
You guys are the sole reason as to why I got some of the amiibo I've gotten. So
that's
thank
amazing.
You. Yeah,
that is like the greatest thing.
That is. It's a big compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be sitting there on Twitter, and then I just see like boop, like right there, and I'm like, click. Sometimes I don't even look at the text. I just see Amiibo News, and I see a link. I don't even think. I just click it, and I'm just like, what is it? Okay, great. I'm buying it like right away.
It's just so natural now for people to just click them right away. No thinking involved. I love that. We're like part of Twitter now. Part of that Twitterverse.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. We have 2 computers running full time with Core i7s with page monitors like on 20 different pages that like there's this cuckoo clock noise it makes every single time something goes in stock. It doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m, 3 a.m. If that thing goes off, I'm out of bed faster than you could ever imagine, checking the computer and trying to get an in-stock alert out. So sometimes we miss them. We try not to, like the Toys R Us debacle when somebody got access to the links early and I was sleeping. People weren't happy that I slept. No. They're like, I can't believe you sleep.
No sleeping.
How dare
for
you?
You're not human.
Welcome to the internet.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm ecstatic that Amazon actually gave us a time, because my evening was going to be go home, sleep for 20 minutes, wake up, refresh Amazon till 4 a.m. to see if they go up, because I thought they'd go up at midnight. But the fact that they gave us a time, I called my wife right away and I'm like, I get to sleep tonight, honey. I get to take a long sleep. So I'm excited about that piece of it.
That's pretty amazing. It's a reason to celebrate.
But we were talking about GameStop too, that they do have an exclusive Amiibo NES. I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but yesterday we tweeted out a leaked photo of like the NES inventory at a lot of these stores, and many of them are getting 1 or 2. Which kind of blows my mind. I'm sorry, because I know you don't have one at this point, and hopefully you'll get one.
Sometimes I give in to the scalpers, and that's the worst part. It's not even, look, I'll pay $20 for an Amiibo, I'll pay $30 for an Amiibo, I'll pay $40 if I have to, but the worst part is knowing that some jerk just bulk purchased all of these just to make that extra money. I get limited quantity, I get limited stock based on certain companies and such, but like it bums me out that one guy just is like, I have hundreds of these things, or I have at least a dozen. Because then not only am I not getting it, but that's a kid. That's someone's daughter or son that's not getting an Amiibo. I mean, I am who I am, whatever. Like I can rage all I want. I didn't get my plastic toy, but the kids are the ones I feel the worst for, because whenever I go Amiibo hunting, there's always, no joke, a mom and a son or daughter that are just like this slowest like look of defeat of seeing the empty Amiibo shelf pegs, just nothing there every time.
So when I actually waited in line for Greninja for the pre-orders not too long ago, and behind me was this old couple. They had to be in their early 70s, and they were there for their grandson, and they wanted to at least talk to me about what Amiibos they were going to have there and what they could pre-order, and they had this little handwritten list. Like, could you look at this and tell me what, if we can get these? And it's like Little Mac, Captain Falcon. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're not going to find these here.
So sad.
But they were like written in like cute little, like tiny little kid handwriting.
Yep.
With a crayon, just like really small.
It was just, God. But they had no idea. I mean, they just went for their kid. I mean, for their grandkid, because they wanted a Greninja pre-order.
So it's heartbreaking.
And the worst part is too, they didn't get it. So
way to ruin the day.
Yeah,
even
ruined
more.
It. Sorry.
These things are $13. Like, come on.
Yep.
Why can't I just buy all of them? No problem. I would have, even if Nintendo was like, hey, here's the Ultimate Amiibo pack. There's 52 Amiibo inside of it. It'll cost you $600. I'd be like, okay,
heartbeat.
Take it, so I don't have to worry about it. And then you know what? You can have it shipped randomly.
Yeah.
So when it shows up, I'm just as surprised as when I bought it.
I would love a subscription service. Just
a
monthly service. I will pay whatever. Ship me the new Amiibos directly to my door.
There's another idea, Nintendo.
I give you guys ideas every week.
They're free.
A few weeks ago, we gave them some ideas about the Nintendo theme park. So we're hoping that they take us up on that too. But the surprising thing at this point is, so they confirmed at this point Jigglypuff, which is exclusive to Target, is going to be in great supply. So they're saying anywhere between like 16 all the way up to like 40 units per store, which is outstandingly awesome.
Jigglypuff?
Yes.
Okay, now I feel a little better.
Now
But
yeah, I mean it's
Greninja's also in huge stock too,
even
correct?
more, even more. There's some Southern Californian stores that are getting 150 units per store, which
Okay,
is outrageous.
I feel okay. I feel a little better, but not completely fulfilled.
What
I'm
I
still
I,
sorry,
what,
go ahead.
no, what I don't get at this point is we have the other two retail exclusives in outrageously good supply, and we have GameStop in like again like the absolute worst position with honestly one of the most like sought after amiibo from any collector. I mean, we were discussing this yesterday. About how obviously Earthbound is a status symbol for many classic gamers, and it is for myself too. I have some of the best memories playing Earthbound. Earthbound was one of the few games that I played with my wife where she read the strategy guide to me the entire game.
Oh, wow.
And I played, and she enjoyed the story.
Nice.
I think a lot of people feel that way about the game. So when they announced NES was coming out, there was this joke that it's going to be just as rare as Earthbound, and everybody kind of laughed it off. But now it's kind of coming into reality that that's going to be the case. So do you have any ideas or thoughts? Why do you think that we're seeing such a shortage on NES compared to the rest of the retail exclusives?
I think what the deal is, and this is just me shooting out into the ether of the bizarre randomness, right?
Yeah.
I think I was reading some of the posts on the Smash Bros. Reddit, and there was a leak I saw of someone had hacked one of the DLC codes on the disc and like online and found, you know, that how you can play the masterpieces in on Smash Bros.
Yeah.
If you want, you can like demo out a couple of the games that
for sure.
the stars are from. Someone, and I don't know if it's proved if it's fake or not, found code for Lucas and Mother 3. And so I think if I had to guess, maybe hopefully hopefully this year or sometime soon we're gonna have a localization of Mother 3 with a NES with both a NES and Lucas amiibo, kind of like to commemorate the launch.
You're freaking me out.
Do you
That's
think
what
that's
I would guess.
Do you think that that's something we could possibly hear about at E3?
I definitely think if we are going to hear about it, it is going to be at 3, or it's going to be a Nintendo Direct in the middle of the holiday season, like right in September, October area, and they're just going to be like, hey, guess what? Lucas date and Mother 3, here you go.
For what system? What would you like to see it on?
Oh my god, I want it on 3DS.
Me too.
I want it on both. I want cross-play between 3DS and Wii U. There's something about when I picked up Final Fantasy X that I got to play in my Vita and on my PS3, and believe it or not, that was actually one of the best ways to play it. I mean, when I was on the go, I just picked it up on my Vita. The cross-saved automatically moved my save file over. I would love to see it on 3DS.
I'm actually hoping for a limited edition new 3DS for Mother 3. Wouldn't that be incredible?
That's a pipe dream, man.
I can dream.
It would be brilliant. Because it's probably going to be a digital download only game.
Yeah.
I think that unless it was like Mother 3DS.
Yeah,
Yes! Oh!
That's right. I like that.
That's beautiful.
It's a given. Just if they could even just put it doesn't even need to be in 3D for that matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't need new features. Call up Poe and Tomato and just take their translation and just put it in a 3DS cart and then put it release.
Look at this, Nintendo. It's so easy. We're giving it to you again.
Pop up in my wallet. I'll throw my money directly at them. And we were saying that before too. I mean, the fans translated this game for you. It's done. It's ready to go. Give them a couple bucks, push it out, and you're good to go. Yep. So I'm thinking we're going to see it at the end of this year too.
I think the big thing too, though, with regard to Earthbound and Mother is, and a lot of the success of Mother 3 would depend on seeing how many units were sold for the Earthbound Wii U port.
Yeah.
Because without knowing that, that's not going to show us I mean, as a business, right? Because Nintendo is a company that does stuff based on data and obviously successful things of tracking numbers. If Earthbound sold poorly on the Wii U, then that doesn't seem fair for them to put all this money into relaunching Mother 3.
Yeah.
if it sold a bunch and like it made a ton of money, then absolutely they should do it. So that's a big thing too. I would love to see some kind of number report on how well Earthbound sold.
And I think the big thing, though, I don't know if they would get like the most accurate representation because number one, I mean, it is still on Wii U, which is it's not struggling as much as it was a couple years ago. But I mean, it's still not in as many homes as 3DS systems are. I feel like if they released Earthbound on 3DS, I feel like you would see massive amounts of people download it compared to on the Wii U. There's something about having an RPG portable that's fantastic. I took the Wii U gamepad to bed more times than I can tell you playing Earthbound. So I think that would be an interesting way to do it too. Or if they did release it on 3DS, they could release maybe like an anthology of everything. Mm-hmm. So who knows? And hopefully at that point too, if that does happen, you think we might see a re-release of NES?
I hope so. I mean, here's the thing. I have not personally seen a new, sorry, I said brain fart. My brain just stopped working.
It's okay. I've had plenty of those.
Well, what were we discussing? We were talking about
NES.
New 3DS, NES.
Okay, so we haven't seen a resurgence of Amiibo, really. Like, you've heard rumors of Marth being restocked.
Yeah.
Like Villager and Wii Fit Trainer never came back. Maybe Ike or something. I don't know. You don't hear about the restocking stuff as much as you used to.
Unless it's Japan, which this is the restocked, like, normal-eyed Villager that has, like, its eyes are 10 times small. Well, not 10 times. They're about probably
2 times as smaller.
Yeah, I mean, they're a lot smaller compared to the other what do we have? We actually have one back here. So if you take a look at it compared to, like, yours, like, the eyes, like, the size, they're much more accurate.
The white pupil is more filled in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually define the eye. From here, I look at it and you like can't see the white as well.
I think it's actually a really good example of what you were talking about earlier with the comparison between Wave 1 and what we're seeing now. There's a huge jump in quality.
Absolutely.
And that's a perfect example, just looking at the two next to each other.
Just make sure you keep the original ones that you have when they start re-releasing these, because those are going to be the ones that, like, 20 years from now we're going to be passing to our kids saying, pay for college with these Amiibo.
We'll just end up handing colleges the Amiibo directly.
That would be nice if they accepted that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the question I have for you guys, and really anyone listening, is with the talk of all this Nintendo technology, the new stuff coming out, the Nintendo NX, mobile gaming, all that fun stuff, what really is the longevity of the Amiibo, right? Like, are we going to see these Amiibo migrate from the current console to the next? Is the NFC chip inside the gamepad and the Amiibos going to carry over tech-wise into the next console? I feel that in order to keep the relevancy of the Amiibo, that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I feel like it also could be the kind of thing where whoever was in charge of creating the Amiibo just said, it's only for Wii U, and that's it. I mean, obviously we see it with the new 3DS, right? New 3DSs are compatible with the Amiibo. So there is interest to extend the longevity of it, but how long is the Amiibo game going to go?
I think we're going to see a bubble burst at some point, and I think we're going to see it at the end of the Smash Bros. Line. And I'm not saying that Amiibo aren't going to be popular, because they're going to be, I think, in probably the next few years. I think we're going to see a stop of, like, the absolute insanity that we've seen. Just the fact that Amazon was forced to stagger the release of Wave 4 is an indication that people are rabid for these things right now. But I think once we see an end of the Smash Bros. Line, we're going to get some relief from that. So that being said, I don't necessarily think that we're going to see a stop of Amiibo anytime soon. I think we might see an evolution of them. So the cards are coming out later this year, and I think that's going to be the first evolution of what we're seeing. So Animal Crossing's coming out, which I know you're excited about, in card form.
Super stoked.
Pokemon, I guarantee you, is going to get a card release at some point, because Nintendo would be absolutely insane not to. So I think we might see just some changes in what they look like. I mean, even with the Yoshi's Woolly World Amiibos, it's completely different. I mean, they're plush, they're adorable. It's something, I have a 2-year-old daughter. She's going to want to cuddle up to this thing, like, constantly. So I think we're just going to see an evolution of what Amiibo are going to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see that move over to the NX when that does inevitably get announced next year.
I think you're right. Also, I think that it's very likely that the NFC reader is going to continue hopping around from new gen to new gen.
Yep.
Because if you've noticed from the past, Nintendo likes integrating these new features like the C-pad and the latest new 3DS. And I think stuff like that is a really good example of how each console is just going to grow and grow with more features.
Yeah.
So the NFC reader, I have a feeling, is just going to stick around. And whether it has to always do with Amiibo or not,
Yep.
I think we'll continue seeing a lot more involvement with the Toys to Life or something similar.
I can't wait till we get to the point where people's Amiibo stop scanning. From what I understand, the NFC chip they use in here is good for 10,000 scans before it starts to degrade.
Really?
So that's going to be, I can't wait. We're going to start seeing posts probably sometime in the next 2 years saying my Amiibo's shot. But that'll be the next big thing that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my Amiibo are still in box. I haven't even opened them yet.
Yeah.
My big thing is, future completionist fans out there will hear about it. I want to do a whole show dedicated to one game and all the Amiibo that have been released, and just showing you whether or not it actually works. Because I know that like Nintendo releases a little spreadsheet that says like what it does, but a lot of people out there aren't going to have all 52 Amiibo, and the Woolly World Amiibo, and the Mario Party Amiibo, and the Splatoon Amiibo.
Yep.
No one's gonna. So I want to be able to sit down and go, okay, today's game, Yoshi Woolly World. Let's look at every single Amiibo out there and show you what it does, and kind of weigh the pro and cons too. Of did I just waste all my life and money on these Amiibo, or was it worth it?
Speaking you're going to be busy.
Absolutely.
Because I think Yoshi supports over 40 Amiibo at launch, so that's right. Nuts.
Speaking of which, the Splatoon Amiibo do a lot in Splatoon.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah, I don't know if you got. I can. It's not like a big spoiler, but So, did you guys get a copy of Splatoon for review sake? Okay,
we played every round of the test fire.
Okay, so Nintendo sent out, I'd say maybe. Usually they're very like, we're going to send out 10 to 15 copies. They sent out over, I think, 50 copies of Splatoon.
Wow.
To reviewers. But the problem with that, I might be wrong, but the problem with that is not everyone's really syncopated and we don't know who owns what. So when we go into, and also, to be clear, they sent us a digital download code for a review build of the game.
Oh, wow.
The review build of the game is the exact same version as the regular game, with the exception that the servers from the test fire didn't intervene with those who had a review copy of the game. So that way, when we would go ahead and review the game off online elsewhere, we wouldn't have to worry about the global test fire getting in the way and that kind of stuff. So I actually had to complete Splatoon twice, because the review build of the game did not copy my data from when they sent me the actual build of the game. I just got the game yesterday, an actual physical release of the game. And so I spent all day yesterday and today completing it one more time. But the Amiibo... So with it being online, if you want to play with your friends, great. That's what the game is for. But when there's only 50 people in the world that have a copy of the game, you can't play online. So for me, what I've had to do is I had to basically cut my review in half. Half's going to be on single player, and the other half at a different date is going to be on the multiplayer aspect, because Splatoon, let's be honest, is a multiplayer experience game.
Yeah.
So for me, though, I'm all about the single player campaign most of the time for my games. So there's a pretty robust single player campaign, and the video's out today, so you can go check it out if you want. But the big thing that was a surprise was the Amiibo when they showed up, because there's a little like box Amiibo stand in the game that's just empty.
Yeah.
And you walk up to it, you talk to it, and it says put an Amiibo on it. And so, lo and behold, you put one of the Amiibo, and you actually get access to 20 challenges that are exclusive only if you own the Amiibo, and the rewards from the challenges are exclusive to the Amiibo as well. So you're going to have exclusive skins, weapons, and costumes.
Wow.
Only available if you have the Amiibo and if you complete the challenges.
So it actually seems like it's worth it for like the first time in a while, like to have the Amiibo.
Absolutely. Not to mention you have 3 different Amiibo, that's 60 challenges. And I don't know if you guys played the test fire, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the test fire, did they have that game with the Inkling when you're like jumping up and waiting for the game to load? The Amiibo, each one has its own game like that. that you can unlock if you own the amiibo.
So do you get to play it like as you're waiting for like the game to load?
You can select the game to play.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or it didn't work in the preview build, but there's an arcade cabinet in Inkopolis that you can go access after you've unlocked the games, and you can scroll through and play them. I think there's 4 games total. One of them's not really a game; it's more of a sound test with like fun interaction animation. But absolutely, the amiibo, in my opinion, are so worth it this time around. I'm very excited that the amiibo. This was my fear of the amiibo. This is when I say my fear is, as a completionist, if I don't have all the content in the game, I can't complete it.
Very true.
So by having the amiibo, I can complete the game and give you the full experience of it. So that was my big fear of the amiibo craze, and that's why I quickly adapted to it right after Wave 1. And Splatoon is evidence that I was right, in the sense that, you're going to find probably the orange girl and the blue boy everywhere, but the triple pack to get that green Inkling amiibo is going to be insane to find.
That concerns me a bit.
Yeah.
I have one coming from Best Buy, supposedly. I don't think I got a shipment notice. My phone buzzed saying that I have a package coming tomorrow, so I don't know what that is yet, but I'm hoping that's what it is. But I have to ask you this, because we've talked about this on episodes in the past. So as a completionist, especially if you're completing, let's say, a boxed collection of amiibos, do you have to own the 3-pack and the individual Inklings?
No, not for me. That's a big reason as to why I stayed away from the Mario Party regular versions, because to me it's about the technology, right? Like the NFC chips in all of these aren't the same. But when you get to look at the Mario Party ones versus the Smash Bros. Crossover ones, the NFC chips are the same. So really you're just paying for a different figurine. So in my book, when someone's like, do you have the Mario Party amiibos? I kind of just say, yes, I do, because the NFC chips are the exact same. Now, I don't think the NFC chips are the same for the golden Mario amiibo and the silver Mario amiibo, which is why I'm trying to get my hands on the silver one. The gold one, I lucked out. I have some great fans who are very much on Amiibo Watch. Shoutouts to Loki Starwind and Jeff 1.3. Those guys, anytime they get any hint of Amiibo updates, they direct message me with the link and go, boom, it's right there.
Nice.
And that's how I was able to snag 2 golden Mario amiibos. But one was for me and one's for a friend. That's my thing too. If I buy multiples, it's for my friends.
Yeah.
I don't want to make a profit off of it. I've had a lot of YouTube friends who are just like, oh, I can't get this amiibo. I'm like, all right, well, like Aaron Hansen, for instance, Ego Raptor, he wanted a golden Mario. So when I got mine, I picked it up and got another one. So that way he has one and now I have one. So it's kind of this weird dichotomy of I don't like buying multiples, but if for friends, they do the same for me. At least I hope they would.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I can't wait to see your episode, if you do an episode on Yoshi's Woolly World, because you are going to be a busy man scanning those amiibo in.
I emailed Nintendo today and I just said, please give me a release date. Please give me a heads up. Because apparently the release date in the UK may or may not be the same as the release date in the US.
Oh, it's not. It's going to be released in the UK at the end of June.
Yes.
And it's a fall release date for the US. I am very close to buying a PAL regioned Wii U. I from Amazon UK, I imported all 3 of the Woolly Yoshi amiibo because they're coming out like a full 2 months before we get them here. Yeah. I'm kind of insane when it comes to those things, but just the fact that they're going to be getting them that much earlier than us, I can't have that.
That was actually the driving reason why I ordered the pink Yoshi in advance.
Yep.
The fact that they were arriving so many months earlier than what we were going to get here, I had to get it for photo reasons mostly, but I would love to play it if I could.
But yeah, I mean, it's I think the same thing happened with the last Kirby game for the Wii U. We got it a full 2.5 months before it was released in the UK. So I'm not sure what's going on with the staggered releases, across the, I can't imagine there's going to be a massive amount of text to translate for a game like that.
No.
Especially if it's coming out in an English speaking country already. So not sure what's going on there, but
that's very bizarre to me. I think now Woolly World, that's a first party title, right? There's no
totally first party.
Doesn't make sense. Why would they? I mean, I understand doing a day, a weekend, or maybe 2 weeks, but a whole like 2 or 3 months
Yep.
to a quarter of a business doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make any sense. But
I'm guessing they're trying to hold off for a holiday release for Yoshi because unless they have something else planned. But last time I checked on the Nintendo press site, it still just says fall 2015. There's no official release date. So maybe at E3 they'll surprise us and say it's coming out earlier.
That
But
would be nice. Though, we have to keep in mind that the business world is very different here compared to the UK.
Yep.
Things are run very differently, especially when it comes to advertising. So when it comes to making partnerships with different advertisers and marketing reasons,
yeah,
that might set the whole scheme back for Yoshi's Woolly World and actually any merchandise that we see from Nintendo.
yeah, absolutely.
only time is going to tell on this one.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that covers the Yoshi piece of it. But there was one other thing that I almost completely forgot to talk about, and I think it's probably the most interesting thing that's ever happened in the world of Amiibo. Have you heard of the Great Amiibo Heist that happened yesterday?
I sure did, which made me appreciate my 3 Amiibo that I just got much more. I'm like, well, great. Now they're here and they're safe and they're not on a truck that could possibly get taken from.
Yep. It actually affected one of my friends in the UK.
Did it really?
Yes, she was very upset about it. Hi, Emma, if you're listening, because she was very upset about it.
Sorry, Emma.
Sorry, Emma. But yeah, she was upset, and I felt my heart went out to her.
Yeah.
Because all she received in return was like a 10-pound certificate to put towards something else.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't enough compensation.
So if you don't know what happened, I'll give you guys kind of a rundown. So there was a truck that was leaving Nintendo of Europe's, I guess one of their warehouses on their way to game.co.uk's warehouse. And somewhere along the line, that truck got hijacked and they got away with it, which kind of blows my mind. I have no idea how you get away with something like that. But in that truck was carrying every special edition of the Green Squid / Splatoon bundle that Game was going to be getting. I mean, not just like part of their supply, all of their supply was hijacked, which kind of blows my mind a bit. Everybody was kind of going onto Twitter and onto Facebook calling it the Great Amiibo Heist. And just, I think they were looking at it like this is how bad the Amiibo thing has gotten. But if I had to guess, I'm assuming that the people that hijacked this truck had no idea specifically what was in it. They probably knew there was games in it.
Could have been an accident, but that's a pretty strange accident to happen. The timing is just very off.
So have we gone too far?
It's an inside job.
It is. Speaking of which, don't come to my house for a while. There's just a whole basement full of Splatoon bundles down there.
You know, it's funny as you and I, as we're all talking about this right now, Wave 4 is trending on Twitter.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, with the announcement that Amazon.
Yeah, the title is Amazon announces Wave 4 Amiibo and Splatoon availability for tomorrow.
Yeah, this was one of the most retweeted things that I've had in like the last week when we put this out. It's really, really bizarre, like the fact that we're getting like something trending like this, like on all of Twitter. But Amiibo have come a long way.
It's true.
That's for sure, and it's getting to the point where people are ready to break the law to get them. So I wonder if you're listening, hijackers, go ahead and turn yourselves in. Just keep the people back what they want. Keep the games, just give the squids back. Can we just get the squids back? A sign of squid life.
I wonder what's going to happen to them, like from here on out.
I can't imagine they could easily sell them.
Yeah.
I mean, they took their whole stock. I have no idea what's going to happen with them.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll make a cool fort or something.
A squid fort.
A squid fort. I'd buy a squid fort. But that pretty much covers like all of our major Amiibo topics for the day. However, we do have a segment that we like to call
Amiibo News Speed Round.
It has morphed into something other than a speed round.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know if it's all that speedy anymore. We've been spending more time on these questions than we initially were going to set out to do. But what we do is we pose a question to our fans on Twitter and Facebook, and we ask, what do you want to know about? What are you just dying to ask the folks at Amiibo News? And obviously the Completionist being on. So we have quite a selection of questions to answer today.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these are going to be for you.
I don't know. I read a lot of them, and a lot of them were about general Amiibo stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm excited either way.
So let's go through a couple of these. So number one, if you did send in something, we appreciate it. Also, just make sure in the future, if you are going to be sending us anything from this, make sure you use the hashtag AmiiboNC so we can easily find these things, because sometimes people don't. And there's a lot of good questions that could get skipped over. Mm-hmm. So we have, what Amiibos do you feel are going to be the hardest to find? And are you a sucker for absolute mint condition? I'm going to leave that one to you about mint condition.
Mint condition to me is up in the air, right? Like if as long as like if it's not missing an arm or a leg, I'm okay with it. But if you're talking like it clearly looks defiled and messed up, I would prefer it to be in mint condition at that point.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that important to me, but and as long as the figurine, I guess it would depend on the actual amiibo and if the NFC chip still works too.
Yeah.
If you gave me an NFC chip for, I don't know, like for Marth or Ike, and the amiibo didn't look that great, I wouldn't be that bummed because I'm not a big Fire Emblem guy. But I love Mega Man and Sonic, so I'm glad that those ones, those ones I want to be in mint condition.
Yeah.
Especially because there's some really creative people out there that paint those amiibos that look really great.
Yeah, they do.
They're incredible.
Yeah. What's your thought on it? Are you a absolute perfectionist? You are a perfectionist, by the way. So
I'm a huge perfectionist, and I'm a stickler for mint condition toys. I absolutely need everything in perfect condition. I don't mind if the box is a little destroyed. That's going to happen, especially with a lot of the shipping that goes on these days.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the actual condition of the figure, I need everything pristine. I actually sit on the floor in stores.
Oh my God.
And I look through every single amiibo that they have to make sure that I have the best one.
That's kind of nuts.
It is nuts, but I enjoy it too. It's kind of weird.
So, interesting enough, and I know this isn't a speed round question, but I have a couple contacts right now that are waiting in line at the Nintendo World Store, and they just told me that they sold out of NES already.
No, oh, that's so sad for anyone who's going.
And the fact that they haven't even opened yet is a good indication that that's kind of sad. So they're handing out wristbands for it, so apparently the wristbands are gone. Breaking news here on the newscast. So
things get crazy at Nintendo World. I was there for the Pokemon launch 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was madness. I mean, just going around blocks and blocks and blocks.
Yeah.
And really hardly anyone got what they really wanted, especially the freebie stuff.
Yeah. I intend to go there at some point. I've never been, but I'll make it there.
It's worth it.
So for me, I mean, I'm the opposite of you for the mint condition. I need a perfect box. I don't care if the figure's scuffed.
Well, you're an inbox collector.
I'm an inbox collector.
That's why, yeah.
People hate that sometimes, but I'm an inbox collector. All right. So that was a pretty decent question. I appreciate that one. What is your favorite amiibo, and what are you hoping for as far as like your dream amiibo?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Pass to someone else till I think about my answer.
Okay, I'll go. Let's see. My favorite amiibo right now is Ness, and I'm so excited because I have him on pre-order. Nothing will surpass him in my eyes. But if one could be released that I could pick, I would say Isabelle at this point.
Oh, man.
I mean, I know we're going to get a card for him, but it would mean a lot to me if we get an actual plastic figure instead.
I want an entire Animal Crossing line.
That would be incredible.
My wife would be so happy.
Yes, I would need all of those. I would do anything to get those.
It prints money. For me, it's Ness, too.
Yeah.
It's Ness all the way. I love Earthbound. I love Ness, everything about him. I imported a UK Ness, so he's sitting on my shelf right now. It's Ness, 100%.
Absolutely.
For me, it's a bit of a pipe dream that would never, ever happen, but my favorite amiibo is probably either Mega Man or Rosalina. There's something that's so cute about the two of them I really like. I were to have an amiibo from a character, I would say I would love a Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars based amiibo line with Geno and Mallow and even like Boshi, or I think it's Boshi. Yeah, just like, because if you look at the original box art and like all those models are already in 3D.
Yeah,
like, they're already designed perfectly for some kind of statue or figurette kind of thing. And I would love a Geno or Mallow amiibo. That'd be really cool. But then again, we would never see that because that's like you'd buy it and then you'd never use it for any games, because there's one game from the Mario RPG franchise. It eventually became Paper Mario, but
yeah,
You know,
I love that you said Gino. I'm obsessed with him, and I don't feel like he gets enough appreciation. So it's really cool that you mentioned him.
What's funny
he's
about that?
he's a toy. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like perfect. It's like the real life representation of Amiibo.
Yeah. We posed that question yesterday. We're in the process of looking for a 3D printer that we're working on this new segment where we're going to try to 3D print like people's dream amiibo. So I posed the question yesterday, what would be your dream amiibo if you could print it? And by far, Gino was the top selection. Like, I think about 15 people said Gino.
I love that. Thank you, everybody. Wow, that gives me hope.
But hopefully Nintendo doesn't sue us for doing that segment. We're not going to sell them. I swear to God, we're just going to print them and put them on a shelf.
Yeah, absolutely.
This actually is a really good question. This is from somebody called Matt Man. Do you think Nintendo is going to announce a Star Fox Amiibo line at E3 to go along with the Wii U game? He does. I've talked about this once on the cast before, that I would love to see some sort of like shipbuilding amiibo thing. Like, we have the the Lego Dimension set coming out where you can build things and bring it into the game. I would love to see something where you could buy like packs that you could upgrade your Star Fox ship, put it together yourself, scan it into the game, and fly it. That would be like absolutely amazing if they would go that route. If it's a first party title coming out, I can't imagine why there wouldn't be an amiibo for it. So I think any first party titles coming out from this point on more than likely are going to have some sort of amiibo support, especially for like tier 1 IPs like Star Fox. So I definitely think it's coming.
I think a lot of it depends on the functionality of the game, right? Like, I think the big thing for Woolly Whirl, and I didn't play Epic Clay
Yeah,
Rainbow
the clay
Cruise. Yeah, I didn't play it. Did it support Amiibo?
No.
It
Oh,
didn't.
the Kirby one did. The Kirby and the
Kirby.
Paintbrush one did. But it was I was not a fan of like the support that they had for that game. It was, you essentially would scan Kirby, DDD, or Meta Knight in, and it would make the level pretty much like on God mode.
Oh.
Like, there was no skill involved. Like, if you scanned in Meta Knight, it was done. You could just fly through the entire course with like no issue. So I wasn't a massive fan of the implementation on that.
So, to me, a big reason as to why we really don't see original Amiibo attached to that game, like a clay version or a paintbrush version of Kirby, is because the game wasn't based with an Amiibo function in mind. Splatoon, I feel like, is a little bit like that, but it was enough of a new title for them to incorporate a lot of fun and interesting things. I think, would I like to see a Star Fox line? Absolutely. Will we see one? It honestly depends on what Miyamoto puts in the game. I think the important thing for Nintendo is functionality over whether or not an Amiibo exists.
Yeah.
Mario Party 10, I kind of found the Amiibo interface a little lackluster. It just didn't feel very, I don't know.
Forced.
It felt forced, not really innovative. It was not a good title to push coming off of Smash Bros. For Amiibo, really, I feel like Splatoon is much better in that regard. And a lot of it's just going to depend on what we're going to see. I mean, can you imagine when we get a Zelda game or a Mario game that, like, first party that does or does not feature Amiibo? That's going to be a whole different can of worms that I don't know what to expect. I think a lot of it just depends in a few weeks when we're at E3 and see what comes to mind.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. And my biggest fear would be like Amiibo support just for the sake of Amiibo support. And I think I've mentioned this at least once on another cast, that Xenoblade Chronicles had probably the cheapest form of Amiibo support that I've ever seen. It was, you got coins to unlock concept art, and you didn't even need the Amiibo to do it. You could use Street Pass coins to do the same thing. But I felt like they said, like, we have to throw something in this game so we could put the Amiibo logo at the top of the box. That killed me because I was ecstatic to play the game, and I thought that there would be just more of a substantial just use for Amiibo in general. So if they did that with Zelda, I would be devastated. But at the same time too, I hope they don't like make it like easy. Like, you could get like a little heart Amiibo card and scan it in, and you could like replenish all your hearts, like making the game like super easy too. So there has to be a fine balance, and I think Miyamoto would be the absolute perfect person to find out what that would be.
I think Nintendo is going to see the success of Splatoon and how happy people are with the Amiibo. And I think they're going to take it from there and probably hype up even more Amiibo with future games. So
For sure.
I don't have too much worry right now regarding that.
So I think we should do one more question, and this is actually a very interesting one because we've talked about it a little bit already today. What's your stance on store exclusives and stock restrictions, like Target's 2 characters per person?
I think the biggest flaw in all of the Amiibo stuff is store exclusives, because not only store exclusives work if the stores are game centric. If you really want to encourage, this may be more chaotic, but at least people would benefit more for it. If I were Nintendo, I would have not put store exclusives in Target. I would have left it at Best Buy because Best Buy is a gaming place. GameStop is fine. But when you start doing Target and Walmart exclusives,
Yep.
I think you start getting into a territory where why doesn't Costco have exclusives, or Ralph's, or Vaughn's, or Radio Shack? You start branching into places that they sell video games, sure, and they sell consoles, sure, but they're not really known for boasting a big library of games. If you really go, Target's kind of pushing it, but if you go to Walmart, you go to those places, Toys R Us barely meets that standard.
Yeah.
They're all about games and toys for kids, and they may have a huge section for Amiibo, but I can't tell you how many Toys R Us I've been to or Target I've been to where I've said, "Do you guys have Amiibo in stock?" And they'll say, "What's an Amiibo?" Like, when the company gets too big for its own good, I think that's when you need to kind of take a step back and go, where are the gamers going to go and buy this product? GameStop, absolutely, because it's GameStop. Best Buy, I'd say, is the next big box store you're going to hit up. But if it were me, my solution would have been to build a network of both mom and pop and well-established game stores. Sit down with them and say, okay, you're Zone A, your Zone B, your Zone C, your Zone D, and deliver exclusives that way. Because the reason why I think that would work is it would let Nintendo control their stock, obviously, and how many are produced and sold. It would allow the independent game shop owner, to dictate how many they need in stock, so they can tell Nintendo, hey, I'm running out. I need like 50 more, and then they just make more, as opposed to making an enormous amount in the ether and just delivering them to this store and that store and that store. You can then try and meet the supply and demand a little better. But then again, my method, as like nice as that sounds, it'd be more chaotic for guys like us, because then we're forced to pull out a hunting map and go all over our states trying to find the best ones and all that fun stuff. But I feel like that kind of model would have worked a lot better than, being like, okay, Target's only having this one, or at least make it so it's like it's exclusive for 6 months, it's exclusive for 12 months, it's exclusive for the holiday season, and to have replenishing dates. Okay, March 15th, Amiibo, Wave 2 is being replenished, Wave 3 is being replenished, because now Nintendo, while they are creating demand, they're shooting themselves in the foot, because these things are $13. They're $12.99, $11.99, right? They're very cheap. But even though there's not a lot of them created, they're creating this huge black market surgency. And what's happening now is that you've got people who are making $40 to $120 a pop. That's money that Nintendo isn't making. And as a first-party developer, let alone someone who owns a proprietary toy like an Amiibo, I'd be furious. I'd be like, let's squash the middleman. Why is that happening? It's happening because there's not enough. But then again, that's Nintendo's whole thing, right? When the Wii came out, I was working at Best Buy that entire time when the Wii came out. They were nowhere to be found. Wii Fits. You cannot find... Wii Fits were like gold. You had to tell the soccer moms in a secret, like, drug deal in the back of Best Buy, being like, yo, what's up? I got 3 Wii Fit in the back, come on, how much you want to give me for them? Because it's like, that's what they created, and that worked great for them. But times have changed, and I feel like the Amiibo are working good. I think creating some shortage is fun for both Nintendo and the consumer, but when you have over 40 SKUs not being replenished, and it's like, it's one thing to phase out the new model with the old, but we're still stuck on not getting the first model.
Yeah.
It's like you want to buy the iPad 1 and you can't buy the iPad 1, but they're working on the iPad 3. It's like, well, I need to buy the first one and the second one first before I determine whether it's not worth getting an iPad 3. You know what I mean? There's a big disconnect, and I think that's my just take on it. I think that they just need to fix it and then plan better for the future, but I feel like they just keep making it worse.
I don't think I can even say anything that would come close to what you just said at this point, because
Yeah.
you've pretty much verbalized everything that we've been talking about on the cast for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and just not answer that question, and just that was absolutely spot on as to what some of the issues that we have at this point are. I always said that the fact, like when Walmart has a retail exclusive, the fact that their electronics department is next to their dog food department, you don't have a lot of their associates that have any idea what these things are. So you see one guy walking out with 8 gold Marios and nobody else gets anything else, because there's just a lot of these stores, they don't specialize in the topic. So there's really nothing for them to limit these things.
Well, it's not even just about specializing. It's about how well equipped these stores are for it. They can't handle the amount of crowds, the number of crowds that are going to be dealing with specifically a game item.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's the reason why it's such a mess right now. What it all boils down to.
Remarkably true. And I just have to point out that was from MC Army 119. That's a great question. Thank you for it. But that's going to do it for the speed round today. And that's actually going to do it for episode 12 of the Amiibo Newscast, which is kind of mind-blowing that we made it to episode 12 already. It just seems like it was like last week that we were doing episode 1. But I want to give you an opportunity quickly to, again, one more time, plug where we can find you, and then we'll close this out.
Yeah, sure. YouTube.com/thatonevideogamer, or just search The Completionist. You'll find my big bearded face all over it.
It's not bearded right now, though.
No, it's not. I shaved it for charity. I did the Scare to Care marathon last week, and we raised $40,000 for charity. And when I showed up, I think we only had about $5,000, and so I made it as an incentive that if we hit $10,000 before we were done, I would shave my beard, and lo and behold, we hit 10,000. So
that's outstanding.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's all for a good cause, right? That's the big thing. Anyways, I'm The Completionist. You just search me, you'll find me. I'm around.
Oh, my turn?
Your turn.
My turn. I am Happily Candied pretty much everywhere online, happilycandied.com. You can also find me on Twitter at Happily Candied. And I'm also all around Nintendo Inquirer, our new site. So you can find it at nintendoinquirer.com. And on Twitter, that's Nintendo INQ. And
everybody already knows me at this point. So I'm Amiibo Jason. You can find me on my personal Twitter account at Amiibo Jason. You can find me at our Amiibo News Twitter account, again, at Amiibo News. Our brand new website is nintendoinquirer.com, as she already mentioned. We're having a blast with it. We are going to be going to E3 this year, so we're going to have a blast covering it. We are also going to the Nintendo World Championships, and we are going to the qualifying round this coming up Saturday in hopes that maybe, possibly, I can compete. It's a childhood dream. We'll see how it works out. But you can find us there. We're going to have a lot of coverage coming up in the next coming months. Our Customs for a Cure Round 2 is going to be coming up in support of St. Jude Children's Hospital. So we're going to be selling some absolutely outstanding customs from some of the best custom artists in the business. So that's going to be coming up relatively soon, too. Look for more details on that later next week. But thank you again for coming. Honestly, it was when you said yes to come on this cast, I was like a little boy. I remember calling Lauren. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I've watched your content forever. If you haven't watched The Completionist, you owe it to yourself to do it. Outstanding work on his part. So again, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun.
But that's it, guys, and we'll be back next week for episode 13, lucky number 13.
Ooh, that's my lucky number, my favorite number.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But again, thanks for listening or watching, depending on how you're enjoying this cast. But we'll be back soon.
Yep.
Have a good one, guys.